Hello again. Dan back with Brown Liquor Review number 31. This one is a little bit unique in that I'm not going to be reviewing a specific whiskey this time. In fact, I just kind of want to share with you a fun thing that I like to do every single year with a certain kind of fruit and a certain kind of whiskey. Well, my favorite fruit comes out in the beginning of June, and it only lasts for about 2 weeks, and they are called sour cherries. Some people call them pie cherries. Okay, so what I do is I'll buy a couple quarts of them, and then what I'll do is I'll pit them and then stick them into a jar, like a container like this one. Okay, and then what I'll do is buy a cheap rye whiskey that is a little bit higher in ABV. Okay, this year I chose, it's called Darby Reserve Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey, I think is what it's called. But it's a value bourbon. It's at 90 proof, so it's got a little bit of that extra kick to it. And so you pit the cherries, or you can do any kind of fruit you like. Whenever you're trying to pick the fruit, think about the bourbon or the whiskey that you're trying to put into it. Okay? And then, just go from there. So think about different bourbons and the ones that I talk about. One of the things that I always say is that there's usually some kind of vanilla component to a bourbon. So if you got your hands on some vanilla pods, maybe you could do the same thing as this. Okay, but the one thing that I always say is that there's a cherry character to most of the bourbons that I drink. Especially the Four Roses and like the W.L. Weller that I just talked about, but then also the ryes, the Sazerac. Sazerac actually had a big orange peel component, so maybe that would be cool if you wanted to get the Sazerac 6-year-old. I certainly wouldn't recommend you doing that with Sazerac 18. Leave that as it is. This is definitely something that you don't want to put to use with your George T. Stagg or your Pappy Van Winkles or anything that would be highly coveted. This is something more fun to do with your bourbon liquors, with your value liquors. And so what happens is, so I got these back in June, and have been soaking them since then, and what you'll see is that, if you can see that, I mean, that's red. It completely takes on the color of the cherry, and if you can see in the thing here, the cherries have kind of given up their color. They're almost a little opaque, like a light color now. And just so you know, I thought that maybe I could use these cherries as like a garnish for a Manhattan or something like that. But it's kind of strange. The cherries end up taking on all the harshness of that value liquor, whatever you put in there. And I know there's like brandy soaked cherries and stuff like that. I mean, those might use a different kind of cherry. But so this one's really great. I mean, you smell it, and it smells exactly like a sour cherry. Now, if you've ever had sour cherries, they are tart, but they also have a lot of really great similar characteristics as a bourbon to it. So, or a rye in this case. And the reason why I came up with this combo is because I love Manhattans. And so basically what I have here is a Manhattan. And so it takes on all the sweetness that the cherry has to offer. It I mean, it's just absolutely delicious. I'll be giving this out to a few of the guys in my family for Christmas. And so it's just something fun that you can do with your whiskey to change it up a little bit here and there. You'll have to excuse me. I have some allergies from the fall season. Even though I love it so much, this year for some reason it doesn't seem to agree with me. So give this a shot. Let me know what you think. You taste a bourbon, you're like, wow, that has a lot of citrus to it. Well, why don't you try zesting some citrus fruits and letting those two marry for a few months. This is just an idea, and let me know if you ever give it a shot. Okay, so this is Dan with another brown liquor review, and my dog is losing his mind, so I better go check on see what he's doing. Cheers.